All right. Well, hello. There may be more people joining us as we go, but today we're into job search design, and I love doing these workshops with nabs to really help people really understand how to navigate their way in this particular industry. It's a very unique industry, creative people. We've got another person here. Creative people are a unique breed, and in marketing, advertising, and communications, there's a volatility there. There's a lot of sensitive people. There's a lot of people flying by the seat of their pants. There's a lot of people creating and innovating and on the spot. And nabs has done an amazing job for 40 years, really helping people in this industry take care of themselves and each other. So I'm grateful to be able to participate this way. And we provide a monthly series around best practices in career navigation and how do you get to where you want to go, right? For some people that might be people that might have just been impacted by a shift in, all it takes is to lose one big client, and an advertising firm might have to let go of a lot of people all at once. And just because people are being let go, it doesn't mean that they're not good quality people, right? Sometimes excellent people find themselves without an opportunity right in front of them. nabs has done a great job at really helping people understand their opportunities and pursue them and embody them. And this workshop is definitely a part of that. And and thanks, welcoming more folks to the group. So today, basically, I'm gonna start with a bit of an overview around job search design, and I'll share some perspectives around really how to design your job search, because this is something that a lot of folks don't think of really doing. They say, I'm looking for a job, but they might not think about how do they want to look for a job. And this is not just, okay, well, how many phone calls and how many emails do you have to send out? It's the inner work that helps shape the outer work. So I have a very special guest today that's going to join us for a little bit of a mindset beginnings here. And I'd like to invite Nicole to come and join us. Nicole is my mindset coach. And
Hello, good morning. So yeah, I'm Nicole. I'm Trevor's partner, and I love leading visualizations, meditations, and I think the most important part of sort of any search, whether it's in jobs or in our life in general, is to visualize, and especially as creatives, use the power of our creativity to create basically blueprints or the vision of what we're working towards and wanting to truly create for ourselves before we kind of go out looking for different jobs, interviewing, really getting clear about our own desires and what we want that process to look like to be the most optimum for us as individuals. So I just want to guide a little process to have you see that for yourself. If it was the most optimum search for you that you could enjoy, it could be fun. You're going to meet the most amazing, people that you want to work with and for. Who would they be? How would they treat you? What would the office look like? Are you working from home? And seeing that in your mind first, and seeing what thoughts it kind of excite you, and which ones are so, oh, you know what, that I'm sort of seeing this drive to work and I don't like the look of that. So maybe your jobs start to look more remote, or there's a different location for them. So I'll just invite you to close your eyes if you want, and just take some breaths, kind of grounding in yourself. We're just going to try to create some relaxation. So just slow breaths in and out. And take about 5 breaths together here. Just bringing our attention inwards to our own self, letting the external environment just drift away as we bring our attention inwards. Just taking some time to play in this creative space in our minds, in our imagination, in our fantasy or dreamland. Now I want you to start to imagine yourself first in a white room with white walls, white floors, white ceilings. completely white room. This is your blank canvas starting point. Everything is ready to be filled with your desires. And I want you to imagine that there's a door, one white door, and you're going to walk towards it. And on the other side of that door, there is your dream career path. And be full of amazing people that inspire you, that you'd love to be mentored by or help, people you enjoy working with and for. There's going to be perfect work environments, work relationships, perfect salary, abundance, wealth, perfect opportunities to use your creativity, to use your talents. I want you to imagine reaching your hand out, opening that door, and walking through. And just start to notice what that environment looks like for you. Take note of who's there, maybe what your office or workspace looks like, what your schedule looks like, what time are you arriving. Just start to see this work environment for yourself. Maybe there's some parts that are at home where you already are. Maybe somewhere remote, maybe there's a new office. Start to imagine these perfect work environments. What are the sounds like? What is the decor like? Is there music? Is it silent? Is there bustling? Are there few people? Are there lots of people? Just imagine yourself going through this visualization. You're feeling really good, really excited about all the potentials and possibilities for the perfect workspace, perfect opportunities for you. You can imagine opportunities coming effortlessly to you, maybe through other people, through referral or word of mouth, maybe coming across the perfect job offer online. Just see that for yourself now. You can even imagine getting some exciting emails or offers. What would that feel like in your body to receive these emails from the perfect clients, perfect companies? To have the perfect amount of money in your bank account, to feel creative, to love what you're doing. And just let yourself feel those feelings and take note of any visuals that's becoming clearer for you about what would your perfect job opportunity be. And just give yourself a few more moments to look around in that space. Are there any more clients or companies, environments, or last bits you'd like to include for yourself? And just take note. And take notice of the feelings in your body when you feel like things are going your way, how you would like them. That feeling of effortlessness, of everything lining up for you. Maybe even being excited or looking forward to aspects of the job search. Just taking any final notes. Then when you're ready, you can imagine another door. You can imagine walking through that door and back into that initial white space. Knowing that you can come back to that visualization anytime as you're finishing or going on your job search further to add to that space creatively. Maybe there's more layers or things you'd like to add to just remember that feeling of flow and ease as you're on this search. And you can start to just wiggle your fingers and toes. You can open your eyes if they're closed, come back. And if it's helpful for you, you can take some notes of just anything that came up for you in the visualization, feelings that you had towards some of the visualization, some of the cues, or maybe different people that you saw that you thought, oh, hey, I should really message that person or put them on my list of places. And return to it and keep building on that to remember that you can really use your creativity in this process to help get the best result for you and to help it flow in ways that can feel really, really good and help you be in that state of joy and play and fun as you're furthering down this path.
Thanks, Nicole.
You're so welcome.
Wow.
You're so welcome. I'll step aside for
All right.
Trevor to jump in now.
Well, thank you. Yeah, and I hope everybody got a chance to sink into that a little bit, because this kind of priming exercise that Nicole has just taken us through is probably going to play a very important role in you achieving something that's a little different than what you've achieved before. Because if you're on the job search, I would suspect that, there's something that's a little bit out of sorts, or a little bit, maybe you've outgrown what you just did before, or maybe you're currently like, you don't have a job right now, or you're looking for clients and then it's like, well, how do I do that? The economy is pretty hot right now, which is good, but we still have to have clarity of vision and insight around what we're promising, whatever organization we're going to, and being able to just win the trust of those people to develop the opportunity you want. So today is around job search design, and not surprisingly, we're starting within. You are in a process of designing not only how are you going to take on this project of winning new work or getting the promotion you want and need, but how can you do that in a way that actually brings out your authentic self? Because authenticity sells, and often when people are not getting what they're looking for, it comes down to they're probably holding themselves back in some way. Well, what are the ways that you're holding yourself back? What are the ways I hold myself back? It's really worth taking a look at that and just going, okay, if we want to do something different, if we want to be something different, we're probably going to have to take on a new pattern. And, the action isn't necessarily the first thing we have to do, because there has to be a thought that precedes the action. So what is the thought that's going to guide your job search? When some people are saying they're looking for a job, you might have to pull out of them, well, what kind of job are they looking for? But if you're being a real champion and advocate of your establishment at the next level in your career, then you're going to want to have language to be able to connect with that and to help people understand exactly, well, what is it that you're promising, right? And, a big part of it, before you even have the thought, there has to be the energy. You have to have the momentum. That's why I applaud everyone who showed up today, because, we will have an opportunity later in this call to turn the camera off and open up the floor a little bit and meet each other. Let's grow our network. There are other people on this call that are taking their careers seriously enough to invest some time to figure out how to upshift. Meet those people. They're going to be meeting some people and you need to know, and they probably know some people you need to know too. And this is part of what it comes into being able to identify opportunities on the hidden job market, because what most people are doing in their job search is, they've got a sense of what they can do. There's often a level of anxiety or concern around that, fear of judgment. What are they going to think? Am I going to feel like an imposter wherever I'm going next? I've only got 9 out of the 12 things they're asking for on the job description. And I'm serious. A lot of people hold themselves back when they see any of these things. Oh, I'm not a director yet. Why not? Well, because I've never been a director. Well, director means a different thing in different places, right? There are some total directors that have inadequate titles. Maybe it's not in the culture of the organization to reward people with the title that aligns to the work that they're doing. So this is where we can't go on titles alone, and if we don't want to hold ourselves back to repeating the same patterns that we have in our career, whether it's doing the same kind of job or even making the job search, some people kind of escape the market a bit by just, perpetuating the search, not taking enough time to find, being more in the search mode. And it takes both, right? So you're going to want to think about, how do you want to feel as you're out on job search, right? I spoke to someone who's on the call today, and they were talking about enjoying, like, really honing their expertise in fun brands, right? So some people have developed great expertise in certain industries, and someone, I've worked with folks that were, the leading voice in automotive or in financial, and insurance, and there are all kinds of different industries, right? And each industry has its own unique vibe. Yes, every brand and every culture is like somewhat different, but working within the automotive industry, there's a good certain type of people that tend to naturally gravitate to this kind of work, and if that's work that you're really passionate about, well, great. How are you gonna package who you are, so that they understand your passion and your expertise? Because honestly, if you go to most job interviews feeling anxious, nervous, stressed, it's like, it comes out, it's hard to kind of drop into your authentic self, and it creates a wall, which makes it hard for people to meet you. People want to hire the real you. People don't hire resumes. They don't hire profiles either. Sure, your resume or your profile and LinkedIn might help, introduce you to the right audience, and that's why I think it's very important to get these messages exactly right about who you are, because you are unique. Every person is unique. And while you may have some common skill sets, you also have some uncommon skills. And so your self-knowledge and enjoying cultivating an understanding of yourself is a very wise activity while you're on job search, because you might be recognizing and realizing better things about yourself than you did before. And then if all of a sudden you can take a look at your responsibilities through the lens of your next title, like how would directors see that? And all of a sudden you find new ways to communicate what you've already been doing. You help yourself level up to that director level where you are seen and recognized that way. And it's easier for people to give you the title, because of course that person's a director. Or of course that person has expertise on the branding of fun brands, whatever fun brand is. And there are fun brands in different spaces, right? But there's a particular culture and an energy, that can become a point of expertise if you want it to be, right? So I think one of the things that is often neglected on the job search, and it doesn't have to be the case for you, is your wellness routine, right? So what is going to help you start your day at the top of the mountain? What is going to put you in a place in yourself where you're proactively making the kinds of decisions that make it easy for the work to find you, because you're finding it too, right? So I would like to encourage you to take like really active interest in the radiance and the wellness that comes from your body. Right? And part of that is choices around foods you eat, the activities that you embrace. It's the health and wellness routine, your fitness routine, something that is aligned to your body needs. Different people have different needs. Some people have a lot of excess energy that they need to burn off to be in that level of intensity where their creative brilliance comes through more effortlessly. And some people need adequate thought time to really consider, who they are and what they need, or to really think about all of the pros and cons of the decision. And if you're like that, then you're probably going to want to find work that lets you capitalize on the strengths that you've got. And you're probably going to want to approach your job search in a way that you can operate in the higher registers of yourself, because we all have our low points and our high points and our middly points. And the funny thing about job search is, often you will have like a very brief interaction with someone that might have a lot of meaning to it. It might be your first introduction to a person at that company. And they say you don't get a second chance to make a first impression. And we're always making impressions. With all of our expressions of energy, they're always landing somewhere, somehow, with some people. Now, not everybody's going to love you. Not everybody's going to hate you either. There will be some people who really understand your way of doing things and appreciate your way of doing things and recognize the value you create, because the way that you do it is harmonic with the way that they want to work. We had two rules of hiring at Interbrand when I was responsible for HR there. There was no assholes and no divas. We knew that there was a character and a quality in the people that made people want to collaborate, to work together, to do high level work. And in an agency world, to maintain year over year voluntary turnover of less than 10%, it meant that we had to have a closely knit culture where people were really caring about each other. And so we leaned into it and created and fostered that kind of experience. We attracted the kind of people that resonated with that. And, when we got hot shots that might have been great at some of the parts of the work, it was not worth it to bring them in at the cost of culture. And whoever it is the cultural gatekeeper of wherever you're going. And it should be every interviewer to some degree, but you might actually find it in a more pronounced way, either in senior leadership or HR. What is the current aspirational culture of the organization? You're going to want to find out these things. And they're going to be able to find out more about the culture of you by how you present yourself. So working with a coach around things like, tell me about yourself, or, what are your proudest accomplishments, greatest strengths, greatest weaknesses? There are common questions that are out there that are worth diving into to prepare you for the interviewing phase of getting a job, right? But knowing your story, knowing how the energy flows right, knowing that you are truly authentic and promising what it is that you're promising means that you're more likely to make that connection heart to heart that makes that person who's interviewing you, recognize your quality and advocate for you. So, the messaging is great, but it's the energy within the messaging that ultimately inspires and motivates action. So, in terms of job search design, you're going to want to understand a little bit more about your working style and, what kind of approach when you're the CEO of you, and you're going to hold yourself accountable to your job search. There are different ways of searching for jobs. And one way that a lot of people seem to approach it, which isn't necessarily the most effective, but there's a lot of folks that try and dumb down their promise to hope that it kind of resonates with the maximum number of people. Oh, I won't get too specific about that. I'm going to blur that out. And maybe they'll see me as a fit everywhere. And, I would say that, that's a poor strategy. It doesn't actually work that way. It doesn't work well because, when someone is interviewing and they're approaching it with good heart and sense, then they're looking for a great fit. They're going to be looking for a great fit for the organization. They're going to be looking for a great fit for the work. They're going to want to feel that, the energy that you bring is complementary to the vision and the mission of the organization. And frankly, it's complementary to them. If there's a lot of vibe clash in the meeting, unless, they love the energy of that high conflict culture, it might be a little challenging. So instead, I'd say, okay, well, what energy do you want to represent? What kind of leader are you? Knowing what kind of leader you are, you can call upon yourself to bring the energies of that style of leadership into whatever you're bringing. So, whether that's a business leader or a finance leader or a creative leader, there's so many different ways to lead. You can lead as an independent contributor. And if there are any independent contributors on the call, hey, know that that's a perfectly valid and good way to have a career. Some people are more suited to having a staff complement and having a team to work with. But some people create exceptional value working as an independent. And, that's whichever your path is, that's probably going to influence some of the companies that you put on your target list. So, going back to, Nicole's envisioning exercise at the beginning, I'm sure you got a sense of, if you really dropped into the exercise, you will have gotten a sense of, what are the things that fit with awesome work for you? Because, hey, any good company, if it's growing and thriving, there will be a certain level of awesome about it. And if you don't feel the awesomeness that they're up to, then find the awesomeness that's going to bring the awesomeness out of you. Because you're going to enjoy your life better. You'll interview way better. They'll see you as one of them, or someone that they want to become by learning the ways of how well you present yourself. You're going to want to take the time to remember your full being. And you're going to want to take time to think about, okay, if you've identified which industries you're most excited to work at, then, okay, well, what companies in there are fit the bill? Is this an organization that already has already has folks like you working like that? Or is it an organization that you're going to bring something a little different to? Some people like having a high degree of structure in an organization they go to so that they can just fit right into it. Some people like bringing the structure. And, it may be the business challenge that you choose to champion. It may have a role in dictating the power of where you're going, and you can find the companies that have the energy that you want to engage with and participate with, but you have to get on your frequency yourself, right? So I think there's a certain level of self-talk, whether you get it in a relationship with a coach, or maybe you meditate on your purpose and your mission every morning. Maybe there's particular reminders that you plant in your day, or activities that bring you back into the place where you're generating more from the inside out. It's one of the biggest mistakes people make on job search is they get all reactive. They wait for someone else to present something to them, to ask them a question, to put them in a situation where they have to leave. There's so many different things that can happen to us that can be a catalyst for change. But there's real power in generating from the inside out, where you yourself are the catalyst for change. And with the amount of leadership that you probably want to champion, you're going to want to go change something. You're going to want to make something better. Maybe you're going to take something ugly to beautiful, or unorganized to organized, or insular to collaborative. There are particular journeys that leaders can choose, and different kind of leaders will gravitate towards different kinds of business problems. So before you even kind of define exactly, well, what title you're looking for, I'd like you to kind of get a sense of what kind of impact are you looking to make, right? Because if you're out there making impact, and you're going to make whatever agency or maybe it's client side, wherever you go to work, you're going to make some sort of impact. And that impact is probably not just going to come from answering all the specs of what someone else is asking you to do. I bet there will be some initiatives that you're going to take. I bet there are some ideas you will bring to the table. Maybe even different ways that they could invest in something to achieve a higher return. You might be putting together a one-page business case for why hire you at this title level. Maybe you weren't in their org chart yet. Maybe you weren't in the staffing budget yet, but maybe they never met anybody like you. And when they meet you and understand how much value of a particular nature you can create, you have a better chance of opening up the hidden job market and finding the opportunities that certainly are not published, so that only the lazy people can respond. Right? Because if we're always on our back foot, just waiting for something to come in to be the catalyst for change, well, some people get very good at just being responsive. But, the kind of road mapping that I would imagine you'd want to get the kind of career satisfaction you deserve, you're going to want to be thinking about it from the inside out. You're going to want to imagine what perfect looks like. And, right down to what kind of relationship do you want to have with your boss or clients? There are different kinds of relationships. Some are highly transactional and not very warm and fuzzy. It might be just the facts, this kind of space, and other people might really appreciate the caring thought. How's your family doing? How's everybody doing? The warmer look out for each other. Some people at the end of the project say, how did it go? And they're all about, tasks, actions, measurable outcomes, all of that important stuff. Other people are all about, well, how's the team? What did we learn? How did we grow? Are we closer together? Are we representing better versions of ourselves? And all that important stuff. And as you're interviewing and sort of thinking about, well, what kind of culture do you feel like you want to gravitate towards more? Know that different cultures, different businesses have different kinds of cultures, and different agencies have different attitudes. And I cannot underestimate, the power of networking and getting out there and meeting people. There are good people who know you, who would gladly introduce you to someone you probably need to know. But how would they know? I would say that starting by developing a target list and understanding, well, what kind of companies you want to connect with. This is where LinkedIn can be your friend, and you can really understand, who do you know that knows whom? Who would be willing to put in a good word and encourage, the executive director of that organization to take some valuable moments of their time to meet you. If you just come from out of the blue and you present your resume or your biography or your website, and you say a little something about, who you are and what you can do, it will carry a certain amount of weight, that initiative for sure. But if you've got all those things and someone that person already knows and trusts says, hey, I'd like to introduce you to someone who might be of real benefit to you in your organization, there is a lot more power in the trust that comes through a recommendation. And so this also speaks to why it's really important to continue to build your network for life, because there are people who have worked with you and enjoyed working with you that would be happy to put in a good word about you and help forward your cause, and gravitate their support towards the mission that you've defined. So, one of the pieces of homework I'd ask anyone who's on this call to consider doing is take a list of things that you really, really want. What are the key core ingredients of who you are, what you are promising to your future employers or clients, and really fill your mind with what fit looks like. And then I want you to go and do a little bit of determination of what do you think the companies would be or the clients would be that need someone like you and would appreciate someone like you. And if you're taking a look at those things, then you're going to want to think about, well, who's going to introduce you? Can you warm up a conversation with someone maybe you haven't spoken to in a couple of years, but happens to be, a core connection point? Maybe you ask for a networking meeting. It's easier than ever to have networking meetings because we can have them on Zoom. We don't even have to leave our own homes. Going for a networking coffee used to cost a lot more time and money than it does now. So not that there isn't value in the in-person, it's really wonderful when people can share energy close. And sometimes it is easier to win opportunities or persuade, your interviewer that you're exactly right if you get to do it in person. But don't dismiss the power of, effectiveness, because you're going to want to make a lot of connections. You're going to want to get really good at communicating your value. You're not going to want to leave each interviewer or a networking person, just kind of maybe left to their own devices to connect the dots. They don't really know what you're capable of, not the way you do, right? So I'd like to encourage you to dig into that a bit. And, when you're architecting your job search, know that it is a search and find mission. It will require some efforts from the inside of you out. It will encourage you to continue to foster your overall network, right? And I also think that having a good networking strategy where you're communicating your value on a frequent basis, you can help people understand what you think about. If you're someone who you really want the market to recognize you as a visionary around the idea of fun brands, well, how would a person like that act? they'd probably have a really fun way of communicating on social media. They would probably have something to say about brand strategy developments for companies that fit within that category. There would be a level of funness in the regular pulse that they would be communicating to their LinkedIn network. Maybe it's even just once a week, but maybe it's once a day. Maybe this person is really tuned into fun brands and how fun they can be. That would be really interesting to kind of to receive the stream of information from someone who is so focused on that. Because for the people that are looking to put a little more fun in their brand, I think it would be easier for them to recognize that, the emperor or the empress of fun is the one who's talking about it all the time, who has valuable business insights around building fun brands. Because, while most of the world is trying to be a little bit of everything to all people, and there are many agencies that are out there saying, hey, we focus on any industry or any level, it is a skill set in terms of being able to navigate that. But there's something really powerful about being seen as the expert in, as what Seth Godin would say, is your minimum viable audience. When I came into career coaching, I really had the good fortune of talking with a number of people who I considered to be leaders in executive search and folks that have expertise in placing people. And I recognized I was a really interesting and unique person. And I reached out to them and I said, hey, you guys are masters of fit. I'd love to have a conversation with you around what fit could possibly look like for me, because I'm going to be a terrible fit in most places, but I'm going to be a wonderful fit in some. And, I really welcome your perspectives and I'd like to know how I can help you out. And I got every meeting I asked for because I made it kind of very easy for them to say yes, help them see that it would probably be a fun meeting, and that maybe there's some value I can contribute towards that. And, and pretty quickly because we were able to hit depth, it was more obvious that, okay, yeah, coaching and teaching, this is absolutely, who I am and what I do. But, back when I was in agency, marketing and HR leadership spaces, then, that was only a component part of what I did. And so for some folks that are on the call, it might be the case that, you've got a 10 or 20% of what you do that you do really well and you really enjoy doing. And maybe you're trying to upshift to make your new 100% your top 20%. That would be really good, wouldn't it? And it's so possible, but you have to know what your 80% is and what your 20% is. What are the kinds of clients or kind of situations that, you don't really enjoy? What would you rather never have to deal with again? Because let them be cared for by the people who either love the heck out of that problem or are just so general they'll take any problem that's thrown at them. I want you to focus in on the problems that you're passionate about. The problems where you're actually creating good value and being compensated well for it. You're really making impact and not only moving the needle on the business performance, but you're creating a culture that makes people happy to come and work with you. Right? Because the culture you build is a huge part of your brand. Coaching a leader once who really talked about her followership as being a real power. And it's so true. It's like there are folks who would probably move to go to your next company so that they can work with you because really they like who you are and how you do things. Well, maybe these are people you want to really take stock of in your network. When you're reaching out for networking opportunities, you're also going to want to be with enthusiasm and excitement about your mission. It's like, oh, things are really hard. Can you help? It's like, well, there's a certain energy that comes with that, but there's a different kind of energy that says, hey, I'm really excited about finding the right opportunities because I know I'm amazing at doing this. And I know some people really need that. And I think you might actually know some people that I need to know. And what can I help you with? Finding that power of creativity where you're not just reacting, you're creating. It's a very attractive energy. If you look at most movie scripts and the way the world works, often something happened to a person and then the story starts. Or when people are talking about their life experience, this happened to me, and it's like at a semi-conscious level, it's like there's self-victimization that goes on all the time. If you recognize the part of your brain that's tapping into that, it's nice to call it out. It's like, no, things are happening for me and because of me. And really like reminding yourself that you're part of a really positive story. And even if you're going through like a patch that feels a little challenging, or maybe you feel a little stuck, or you feel like you tried a bunch of things, but it hasn't quite been working, change vibes, right? Because we are shapeshifters. We have that capacity. And, and as being folks in marketing, advertising, and communications, we're the people who really should be the best at shapeshifting. We are required to see things in new ways all the time. And we're paid to see things in new ways all the time so that people can innovate and create, so organizations can represent themselves better, so people can represent themselves better. And so, my message to you is really coming back into what are the things that you can do from the inside out to represent yourself better, to represent your vision and your energy. And some people, it might be, their physical projection, or, what kind of, backdrop they have on their Zoom meetings. For other people, it would be like making sure that they're spending time on things that they're truly passionate about, even if they aren't compensated for it yet, but something that gives them that light in the eyes, which helps them see it's like, hey, I'm with a creative, switched on person, someone who loves to create value, someone who's got their mind on, where's the organization going, or what does my boss or client need next that they don't even know that they need, because a lot of innovation in the world happens because people are self-starting. People imagine a new way. They're not starting their script with something happened to me. No, something is happening now because I'm making it happen. And, people are excited for your success. I bet most people in your network, people that have chosen to connect with you on LinkedIn, they want you to do well. They probably want to help you do well. And most people don't know how to help other people, because most people aren't very good at asking for the help they need, right? So I'm going to encourage each person here on this call to be a greater advocate for their own mission, a greater advocate for the things that, that you're really excited to do. And everything that it's connected to. For some people, they may be motivated to provide for their family better, and that by shifting up into the level that actually befits the truth of their quality and their impact is also going to help them provide for their family. And that can be very motivating. And it can be very motivating intrinsically to build a culture, with people that really want to focus in on creating the life that they want, right? And so by being a creative, I would say that, I would encourage you to not think about, your well-being, or the level of success that you believe you're having in your career. I wouldn't tie it too closely to the title. There are sometimes people can build a lot of confidence and say, I'm the director of, or I'm the chief, and then all of a sudden you lose your job, and where'd your confidence go? But when you know that your confidence comes from the inside out about the value that you love to create, well, this then becomes a really interesting search journey where you're leaning in and really looking for values that are shared, and looking for opportunities to create the value that people want to pay for, and give you a great feeling of service that you're actually leveraging your talents. Because this is also an industry where your talents are needed. Your creative thinking is needed, and if you know what your creative capacity is, and the challenges that you want to take on, live in such a way that it brings that energy right into you, and it becomes a natural fit to move into the world, for the work that you need to do.